Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatu wassalamu ala asrofi anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to wish a happy Milad to our honorable chairman, Professor Bambang Sudibyo. May Allah always take care of him throughout his life. And also, I would like to wish and hope that everyone is in good health, especially during this pandemic situation. Uh, Originally, the director of operation that will give the presentation, but then he asked me, what if we show the audience about what we already actually done in terms of implementation of blockchain technology in BAZNAS. So he asked me to explain a little bit more detail about what we already have done in BAZNAS and more technical as well. So it is an honor for me to share this knowledge to any one of you. Now, let me first begin my presentation with I want to make some analogy about yes, we already know that blockchain really complex and massive technology. Dr. Montes has already explained how big it is, and Dr. Aisha juga already explained about how we can work with blockchain. And during my research about blockchain, I realized that okay, if blockchain is really complex and is really massive and a lot of simple or small technology that applied in that blockchain, in the concept of blockchain. So maybe I can make a comparison. So blockchain is maybe similar with the Boeing 747 or probably Airbus 380, the jumbo jet airplane. So why do I need to make this analogy? Because if blockchain technology compared with the Boeing 747, that means what we already done in BAZNAS probably is a Cessna. So don't expect that when I say that BAZNAS already implementing the blockchain technology, it doesn't mean that we already have like Boeing 777, for example. No, we don't have that sophisticated technology just yet, but we already have more small technology, simple and basic technology of blockchain that we already applied in our platform. So I want to give us the idea. So if we talk about the blockchain in BAZNAS, we talk about Cessna. We're not talking about the huge airplane that already installed a lot of technology in that airplane. Okay, that's the analogy I want to share with you. So when we talk about blockchain, I quote this from the one of the article written by Sultan Ruhi and Lakhani, entitled "Conceptualizing Blockchain: Characteristic and Application," and it is published on the 11th IIDIS International Conference Information System. They wrote that characteristic of blockchains consists of four characters. Now, the first one is immutable. It means that it cannot be modified. It cannot be altered. The block it has to be consistent, has to be tamper-proof, right? So that is the immutable. The next characteristic will be the decentralized. So it has to be in that network. We cannot have one organization on one point, on one server or one nodes that to be the centralized of the data that the blockchain has implemented there. So it has to be the data has to be all over the network. It has to be decentralized. Now the third characteristic is the consensus driven, which means that whenever we want to create a block, it needs to be validated through all the network. So when one nodes or one point says that, okay, I cannot agree this block could be the next block. So it it will not be a consensus. Yeah, it will not be consensus. So consensus means that whenever a block is created, it has to be validated. Yeah, it has to be validated throughout the network. Now the last one is transparent, and it has to be available for public. Just for the sake of simplicity, let's just say that in every block it has to be can be read by any one of you in any part of the world. Yeah. Now, if we go back to the analogy of the Boeing 747, the commercial airplane of the biggest one, if this is the characteristic of blockchain, which is the analogy of Boeing 747, then what already BAZNAS implement was is the only two out of four characteristics, which is the first one is immutable, and the second one is transparent. We already have the platform how blockchain is chaining to one each other, and then we already provide the platform to read it. And you can I can show you in the few next slide, and you can go there, and then you can search and you can feel the experience of, okay, this is the blockchain that um, that have the characteristic of the transparency. Now, just remember that we don't have the decentralized or network yet. We don't have the consensus driven yet. It is work. It's a work that probably we will done in the near future. Yeah. So when we talk about blockchain, yeah, blockchain. At least we know that there are two components. Yeah, the block and the chain. Yeah. Uh, it, if one component is gone, that is not a blockchain. All right. Now, during my research about how can I actually implement blockchain on my own, or the IT division, how can we actually um, create a blockchain of our own? Now we come up with the apparently there are numerous versions about the how the blocks might treat it. So uh, here I give you example of two version. The first one I'm taking from the NIST website, which is you can see that the blue circular box is represent a block. Yeah, and the and the block consists of a lot of data inside that block. Yeah, and the chain represented by the black arrow. Yeah, where on the central block here, we can see that it has the previous what we call hash function. So basically, it it record um, the previous data, but only in the hash format, not in the raw format, in the original format. It already transformed to the hash format. Now, the second one, that is the one that been proposed by Nakamoto's. Nakamoto's is a group of people that come up with the Bitcoin idea, with the blockchain technology behind the Bitcoin mining. Uh, this type of blockchain, as you can see, there are different data inside that block. For example, this use the block data, what just block data, transaction list, etc., etc., and the hash of block data. That is the one. That's the one that will go with the next block if a block the next block has been created. Now, if we use the Nakamoto's schema, the Nakamoto's doesn't use the hash of block data. It used the original data and then combined with the previous data. They have the original data and then added the previous data and then doing the hash function, and the hash function is the one that will go to the next block. So maybe this is the basic foundation, and alhamdulillah we understand this concept. But in BAZNAS, we combine these two. Probably the this slide more give you brief understanding about what we actually implementing in BAZNAS. So we use the Nakamoto's proposal, which is uh, um, using the original data. The original data is a raw data. We call it raw data, and then we have the previous previous um, previous hash. We call it hash. Yeah, previous hash from the previous block, and then we combine them, and then we hash it, so we get the hash. So basically, what is hash? Hash is sort of like a function, a mathematical function that can create the integrity of a data. So if you, for example, if you have like 100 characters of of a data, 100 characters, and you put a you put it in the hash function. If you have function using the MD5, and then the output will be only 32 characters of the data become 32 characters, and it is random. So it can check the integrity of the data. So that is a hash function. Now we use the Nakamoto's proposal, but the difference is that um, when Nakamoto's only focusing on the Bitcoin, what we're doing is we our blockchain platform can receive data from every application. So it can be, for example, peer-to-peer payment lending. This is just an example. This is not what we actually implement in BAZNAS, but this is just to give you an idea how our platform can receive data from several applications. So it doesn't matter what kind of data, as long as you want to put it or you want to register it to our blockchain platform, just use our API, public API of registering the blockchain. Now, um, I'm going to go deeper about the components. So if you're still thinking about, maybe some of the participant here still thinking about, okay, what is the blockchain actually when it's come to the database, for example. Now, this is what we already done in BAZNAS. Just think of a block. Here I wrote that a row represents a block. So think about this table as an Excel table, for instance, yeah, for just sake of simplicity. Just think of this is as an example. So what is a block? A block is a row. So a block represents a row, and each row has columns. In our platform, each row or each block has 5 columns, which is, you can see here, the block ID, which is a sequence number, and unsigned means that it cannot be negative. And also we have the nonce, or we call it fingerprint. Yeah, it is the random character, 12-digit random character. The system will generate it automatically. And the timestamp, just to get the idea, or just to get the figure when the block has been created. Now, number 4 is the data. It's in JSON format. I'm not going to explain about JSON format. JSON format is a JavaScript object notation. You can Google it, and it's pretty much well-known format in terms of web technology. Yeah. So store any data that you want to register in the blockchain platform. It has to be in JSON format. The data can be anything. The data can be anything. We will speak about the data immediately. And the last one is the block hash. We call it block hash. The block hash has a formula that previous hash. So for example, if you can see the cursor, I'm moving my cursor. For example, if we want to create a block of the last row here, so the formula is the previous block hash, this one, and then concatenate with the block ID, and concatenate with the nonce, and then adding the timestamp, adding the data. Just concatenate everything, and then do the hash function to all of these data, and then we get the block hash. We get the block hash. The MD5 function already uh, is the well-known function of hashing. So you can Google that as well. So basically, what we have in column number 5, only 32 digits, only 32 characters. Yeah. So it will um, uh, make more compact about the the data that is really really long. The JSON format make the data really 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 long. Now, so this is the database schema in our platform. Now, it's consistent with the one that I showed you earlier in the from the NIST. Now, let's talk about the transparency. Now, we already create the BAZNAS Blockchain Explorer. We call it BAZNAS Blockchain Explorer, and is accessible and available on. You can go there by typing chain.baznas.go.id/explorer, and you can see there are 3 components in our Explorer. The first one is the function, it's the search function. Sorry, based on the fingerprint. And the second one, below the search function, is the block. We made um, the square the square line just to give you idea that this is a block, and every data inside that block is the data of the block. Yeah, now, as you can see, there is the previous hash, and then block ID, timestamp, and another hash of the block. So this is what actually stored in our blockchain platform. Now, we also provide you the list of 20 latest block, so you can search. For example, you just can try to copying the fingerprint, one of the fingerprint here, and then put it in the search form, and then click search, and then you can get the detailed information about the block, about what is inside the block. And this is the Explorer can be accessed anywhere. So it doesn't matter whether you're in Indonesia or you're in other country, you can access it anywhere as long as you have the internet, of course. Now, let's talk about the data. So if BAZNAS already implement blockchain, so what kind of data that we already implement in that blockchain? Um, uh, let's just say that in zakat management institution, especially in Indonesia, we definitely will have data of muzaki, data of mustahik, and then we have the donation record and the disbursement record, and of course the data of amil. Let's just say that these 5 data is the primary database of zakat management in Indonesia. And when I said that we already implement the blockchain, so what kind of data that we already put it in our blockchain platform? The answer would be none of them. We haven't had the chance to bring this data into our platform. Now, we use another data that also has been used in internal BAZNAS. The data that we use is the data that we use is approval online platform. We call it approval online platform. Why this data that we put it in the blockchain platform? Because when we developing the blockchain platform, we also in the middle of the developing the approval online platform. What is approval online platform? Approval online platform is a platform for us to approve whenever there is a document requested to a person. The person can click accept or can click decline, whatever they want to do, they accept or click. When the button is clicked, and the backend and the approval online goes to backend server, and the backend server hit the data or send the data to our blockchain platform. Now, the blockchain platform will create a chain, and then put it in the next block of the platform of the chain. Now, the beauty of this is that whenever it doesn't have to be approval online, it can be any application. It can be any application as long as they hit the as long as they send the data to our blockchain platform, it will treat it as the request of this data has to be in the block. Yeah, has to be in the chain as a block. Yeah. Now that is the idea of how we already implement as the blockchain technology in BAZNAS. Now, what I've already described about is the phase one. Yeah, the phase one. Phase one, we call it the preliminary phase, which is the basic platform of block and chain, of course. Now we already know as well that in phase one, we we already uh, fulfill two characteristics out of four. Now in phase two, we will add more functionality to our blockchain platform, especially the decentralized and the consensus one. And we can probably add like a little bit more. It depends on what we're going to achieve, yeah, in phase two. And then the next in phase three, we will implementing nodes and to BAZNAS in provincial and local level. So the beauty of BAZNAS, we already have the network of over 500 BAZNAS in the provincial level and the local level. We already have the network, but we don't have the technology yet. So here we want to build the technology, we want to build the platform. After we build the platform, then the next job would be the create the network. Then raise the question, okay, after uh, we have successfully do the phase three, what next? Maybe we can, you know, expand a little bit higher, not just in Indonesia, but in other country. Why not? Yeah, we have the World Zakat Forum. We have the World Zakat Forum, and we have a lot of members there, the member country, and they have a zakat management organization. Why don't we create a network together? We have a joint committee, we have a joint programmer. Let's create a network, or maybe we can use the one that already developed by Dr. Mutaz in ISRA. Why don't we just use that instead of use the other like Ethereum, other network? Because this is probably specific to Zaka, maybe, I don't know. So but the potential is there that we can create one network, and then it can be coming from not just one country but other country as well. Okay, to sum up, so BAZNAS has just implemented blockchain technology in 2020, but maybe I should write this the so-called blockchain, because we haven't done the decentralized yet. We haven't done the consensus yet, but we already started at some point. Yeah. The second one, the implementation, is only covered two main characteristics. Yes, and the basic component of blockchain is already there. Now, in the coming years, BAZNAS will have the concept and implementation of distributed network and consensus method. This is what I've already said earlier. And hopefully one day Zakat will have its own network, and the nodes are the Zakat organization around the world. So that's a vision of probably myself. So that is my presentation. Thank you. This is me. Thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Dr. Bayu.